Thank you very much for speaking to me. What brings you to St Peter's Square today?
To speak about women for women.
What key issues do you think deserve the most attention?
Female-only spaces, the transition of children, the word woman, not include just being for women only.
What is a woman? What is a woman?
An adult human female.
Okay. And where would you say trans women fall in terms of that categorisation?
They don't. They're male. They can't. By definition, they're excluded from the term women. They're the opposite of women. Like as my sign says, gender identity, personality, gender expression is. If the definition of woman is an adult human female, then hundreds of thousands of women are excluded from the definition of woman. And that's not fair, is it?
Why are single-sex spaces so important?
Because there are some men, not all men, but some men are they're dirty bastards and they want to gain access. Oh, sorry, I can't swear, can I?
You can say whatever you like.
Oh, well, some men are really gross human beings and it's their pleasure to get off on, women's vulnerability.
Well, across the road, we've got a gathering of people that I would think it would be fair to say disagree with your worldview on it, and they're shouting about things like fascism and things like that. I mean, what do you think when you see that group across the street and what their concerns are?
I think most of them don't even know what they're protesting, to be honest. We're just a bunch of women speaking about women's issues, and they're protesting that. It's ridiculous because we don't include them in our definition. If they want to be gender non-conforming males, that's fine, go for it. But it doesn't make you a woman. I'm a gender non-conforming woman. There is no definition that includes man that includes me. So without the definition being adult human female, I am not a woman. And I am a bloody woman, thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much for speaking to me.
Right.
Stay safe. Cheers. Thank you very much for speaking to me. I suppose my first question is, are you relieved or a little bit sad that the counter-protest isn't as big as you might have imagined? I mean, it's sizable, but...
I don't care too much.
Okay, how do you feel when you see people coming out here to protest your message, given what you're saying? What's the disconnect between what you're saying and what they're hearing, do you think?
Well, I think they're in a quasi-religious kind of dogmatic space. And so, as far as I'm concerned, they've decided that they've got a bona fide civil rights action. They've been lied to. And eventually they'll work it out, but for some of them it'll be too late.
Last thing I'll ask as well, so I was trying to speak to two women earlier before who identified as gender critical, and they were comfortable to talk, they were making perfectly reasonable noises, but didn't want to be on camera for fear of losing their livelihoods and job. In your speech you said now is the time to speak up. Do you think the tide is changing in that regard?
Yeah, I think when you've got Savage Javid looking at it and you've got Boris Johnson making comments, I think that time's up for anybody with respect speaking out against women. I think time is up for that, and we will remember those that did. So yeah, the time is now.
That's great. Thanks for speaking to me. Hope it stays peaceful.
Thank you so
Cheers.
much.
How are you doing? You okay? I did come for the statue, but if you want to have a discussion, I'm open to it. No? Okay. Sorry, why are you blocking me from the statue? Hello, let's ask you a question. Watch your face. Can I have a look at the statue, please? In public property. Can any of you speak? Any of you willing to have a conversation? No? Do you think this changed anyone's mind? It's really just a shame you're not 8 foot, because my arm sort of just gets it. You sure you don't want to chat? Happy to hear why you're here. Blink once for yes, 2 for no. No? Alright, well thanks anyway, stay safe.
Posie Parker is a racist, fascist extremist! I bet you just feel fucking safe hiding behind your thin blue line! Just get up, Martin! Just get up, Martin! Just get up, Martin! Trans women are women! Trans women are women! Trans men are men! Trans men are men! Nobody We're the real feminists. We're the real feminists. We're the real feminists. We're the real feminists.
You are trying to take away from people in this city, and we will not have any of it. I am so immensely proud of all my trans siblings who've come here today. Knowing that you might shout at them or be horrible to them. Why do you want them not to have the same rights as you? I don't know why you think that it's taken away from your rights. I can say as a cis woman that it takes nothing away from my rights. To stand up for my siblings. Aren't we so much stronger standing here together? It's embarrassing to be shouting against people and to be bringing people down, and that's exactly what you do.
I stand here today as a proud trans gypsy person, someone who knows what it's like to be on the streets and struggle. The statements you've made, I don't know how your mates can all stand here and defend what you have said against Islam and against Muslim people, as well as against the trans community. Shameful, disgusting, rude. Point to me all you like, babes. I'm in full picture. 3D babs.
We're on the right side of history! We're on the right side of history! We're on the right side of history!
What are you from the Heritage Foundation? Come on! Posie Parker in the pocket!
Thank you to the TRAs, the men's rights activists over there who have wonderfully decided to take over the feminist icon statue, which I think embodies everything and the reason why we're here, because they've decided to interlope into our spaces, to interlope into our conversations, and we're basically saying no. You're not coming for our kids, you're not coming for our spaces. Whatever you think you're going to gain from trying to trash women's rights, it's not going to happen, not on my watch.
We're on side. He's good, he's okay.
So lovely to see many of you Northern women who can't usually make it down to Speaker's Corner in London. So we thought we'd come to you, Manchester being such a historic place for the fight for women's rights. So why are we here? Because handmaidens and women have decided to give up our spaces to men. They've decided somehow that they've listened to the cries of these nasty, entitled men, and they've gone, I feel sorry for you. I think you should come into our spaces. They only want to pee and masturbate in our toilets. They only want access to our children to convince our children that they also could join the cult of trans. And what is so frightening is how many young women are pulled into this.
We're on your side, don't worry.
Right, can I just say, I don't mind anyone taking pictures. I don't care what his motive is, I don't care. We are transparent here. I don't have any idea about your motives, by the way. But we are transparent here because all we're saying is, can we just not have men in our spaces? Can we just not give our children mutilating drugs and hormones? Can we not encourage our very young women to slice off their breasts? I don't believe we should be embarrassed or afraid to say it. And if you're still afraid, I'm wondering why. Because actually, what is happening is far more scary than whatever consequence can happen to you. And I mean anything. I'm talking about young women, age 18, within 3 months of visiting a nasty surgeon can get their breasts sliced off. That's what I'm talking about. How bad does it have to get before you speak? The people of Manchester have no idea that their children are being taught about anal sex at age 13 in their classrooms. They have no idea that sexuality, any sexuality, I'm not talking about specific sexualities, any at all, is being taught to prepubescent children. This is not about the acceptance of all sorts of families, which I'm sure most of us would agree, except if your dad's an AGP. And then we
really would like to see the courts intervene in why a man is parading his fetish in front of his children. But each and every one of us have got a peak trans story, I'm sure. I'll tell you mine. So in 2015, David Cameron took office. I didn't see that coming. I was so embedded and wedded to the left that I really thought we had it. And then I realised I was in some sort of crazy echo chamber in which the left was no longer on my side. The left had decided, and I'm not saying the right's on our side, let me just make that clear, but the left had decided that what it wanted to do was prioritise men in dresses parading their fetish above women. And each and every corner I turned in my little left-wing bubble just turned against me. My question was, does my 11-year-old daughter have the right to use a female-only space and not see an adult penis? And for that I was told, no. No, she doesn't. She's a bigot. She's staring at genitals. She raised a pervert. This was in left-wing feminist circles on Facebook and all types of social media. I'm now banned from Twitter. I've appealed, even with Elon Musk. I'm not allowed back in. It's just me and Trump. So hopefully I'm going to get an invite to Truth Social. But everywhere I turned, every place I'm sure any of you have looked for solidarity where you thought you would find it, you've been told, no, women aren't important. Did you not know? Did you not know we've been prioritising men accessing prostitutes all these years? Did you think that we'd change for you? Did you honestly think that when you said, can we just keep pervy men out of our spaces, that any of them would say, yes, of course you can, because I bloody did. And it didn't happen. So that was my peak trans story. In this lefty, awesome lefty women group, there were men basically looking like men who'd done trucking for most of their lives. More masculine men than I could care to envisage, who basically put on lipstick, took soft focus selfies and put them in the group chat where nobody was even discussing whether they were heterosexual, married, mothers, nothing. And these men basically put their selfies in, and do you know what the women did? Oh, your eye makeup is so great. Oh, you look so beautiful. You look like a sexy secretary. And I was like, well, that is what they're going for. Stunning and brave, each and every one of them. And as you probably know, in 2018, the children's champion, Susie Green, reported me to the police, and I got interviewed under caution by the West Yorkshire police, who came down to Wiltshire. And what they decided to do was stay in a hotel, because you know how police forces are just brimming with money. You'll know that from the times that you've reported a crime for yourself. They just can't wait to help. And what they did is they interviewed me for an hour and a half under caution. Is it wrong to say that it's child abuse to castrate your 16-year-old? Really? No. Should she have been the one in the hot seat? I think so. Now Susie Green is selling trans to kids up and down the country. They are in your schools. They tried to be in my school, well, Giles did, and I just said, oh no, you won't be doing that. That's not going to happen. You are not going to make girls and boys afraid of their own opinions and their own dignity and their own safeguarding. You're not going to do that to kids, my kids, and you need to do it for your own. Now, Speaker's Corner, how it goes, you can say what the hell you want, please don't incite violence, because it's on my live stream and I'll get interviewed, just like Venice Allen and Linda Bellos. So please don't incite violence, please ignore the handmaids and the men in dresses, please ignore them. They commandeered the statue, they can't take our voices, they can't take our thoughts, and they won't take our rights.
We are falling, Greater Manchester's fallen so badly, it's so fast to gender ideology, it is hard to know where to start. 96 councillors in the city of Greater Manchester have passed a motion declaring trans rights as human rights. Now we have said to them, what does that even mean? Since they have declined to respond to our group, we take it to mean this. They will support men bulldozing their way into the safe spaces of women and girls. Councillors will put the safety of women and girls last. They will propel and promote anti-safeguarding group, the Proud Trust, and they will encourage the transition of gender non-conforming children. Councillors, you have got the right to reply. Please tell me that we are wrong. But since you call us TERFs on Twitter, I don't think you are going to. One primary school has reported to parents, have sent a letter out to parents, that a Year 5 child is socially transitioning. They've received new pronouns and new name. This letter has gone out to 500 parents. The parents have been asked to search mermaids to speak to their children about the fact this child has socially transitioned and how to accept them. Again, we've had no response to our complaint. 2 more primary schools have been found to not offer single-sex spaces. They have told me personally that Stockport Council agreed to their gender-neutral facilities. A high school in Stockport have added pronouns to all the teachers and all their staff signatures. A Catholic primary school have been reinforcing gender stereotypes. They have used the book When Kayla Was Kyle. Kyle doesn't like playing with cars, so of course he has transitioned into Kayla. They are teaching this to 6-year-old children. This is an absolute disgrace. That school are soon to be before a governor's panel. Are we happy with young girls sharing toilets with young boys? Are we happy for gender ideology to be taught in our schools? Change will only happen if we all speak out. Be the change.
Women and girls deserve sex-segregated spaces and services for their safety, dignity and comfort. Free from males, delusional or not. Okay? There are 2 people in my life that need these especially, and I'd like to tell you why. My daughter is 9 years old. Well, she's 10 now actually, because I wrote this speech for last year. And she's quite severely autistic, and communication is very limited. And she will most likely need personal care for her entire life. She is in a specialist residential school for children with special needs, and she needs help with wiping after the loo, showering, hair washing and all personal hygiene, including when she starts her periods. I want a female helping her with those things, and I want her right to personal care, on the basis of sex. She deserves that for her safety, dignity and comfort, and that is her right.
Thank you so much. When it comes to speaking up, can I just say people are ready? Like, if you're worried about speaking up, the time is now. People are ready. Even good old Boris, who we knew what a woman was because he impregnated so many. Even Boris has started speaking now, so this is the time. If you've ever felt afraid before, this really is the time. It's now. If not now, then when? And if not you, then who?
The Catholic Church are trying to take over the National Maternity Hospital in Ireland, and the Vatican will have rights to decide what treatments can be carried out in that national maternity home. Women's rights are constantly under attack from men who think they can and do better and know better.
I was a GP for 25 years, and my message today is really for all the doctors, nurses and pharmacists, but particularly for the doctors. Have a think about what we're doing to children and young people. I think we're heading for the next big medical scandal. Why are we given unproven, untested drugs with uncertain long-term consequences to children and young people? Why on earth are we doing it? Why aren't we asking why there is a 500,000% increase in young women young girls being referred to the gender identity clinics? Why are we rushing to affirm and treat when we have no idea what we're doing?
I really hate to break it to you, but you're not a rebel. It's true. you're a commodity. Money gets made right off your back. Because what you do is nothing new. It's just the same old fad that's been picked up, dusted off, vacuum packed and given back to your generation as this new way to act. It's kind of sad. You think your mom and dad don't understand when it was their fad before you ever began. So my generation had its fads too. The goths, the punks, the metalheads, and the emos, to name a few. I'd say the emos are most like you, except the worst they could do was get some shitty tattoo they'd one day have to pay to remove. But what you remove can't be undone. Once it's gone, it's gone. And don't tell me you never change your mind, because I've seen a bunch of you online crying about the Harry Potter tattoo you got back when you thought it was shit, huh?
Thank you to all the trans activists that are making us look so civilised. It's really, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Can I just radical trans liberation, what is that? Enter women's spaces. That's what that is.